Hi guys, Bigfoot again, still working on this YouTube video system, trying to perfect how I'm going to produce these. So let's draw something that I get requested quite a bit, being that my studio is Bigfoot Art Classes in Temecula, and I have been calling myself Bigfoot for, gosh, over 20 years now. We don't draw enough Bigfoots, they say. So let's draw a Bigfoot today. Let's start by putting some dashed lines down the center of the paper. This is going to help us place our shapes today. We're going to start with a wireframe. That is the basic lines and shapes that cartoonists will use to map out their characters. So let's start with an oval right here. Try to draw very lightly when you're starting out here. Notice that I tucked the oval right in the corner of this sort of top left corner of the paper. Okay, and then we're going to come down from that and we're going to kind of bend a line down, and that's going to kind of do this on the other side. So almost parallel. We're going to put an oval here, and we're going to sort of put a curved line here and bend this line behind it. So, basic lines and shapes to kind of map out the character. This is super helpful when you're trying to do a specific pose. Now, we all probably have in our mind the way that Bigfoot walks, kind of swinging his arms. So, we're going to add a little bit of arm swing in here. This is going to be a cartoon Bigfoot, a little bit in the chibi style, which is a Japanese drawing style where everything is kind of shorter and cuter. So if you're looking for a scary Bigfoot, well, we'll have to do that one later. But this is going to be sort of a cute Bigfoot character, and this is the one that I've been drawing and using for my classes for years. Now, this is the basic shape wireframe. Two things that this will help you with. Number one, you can start to map out the character and the pose before you actually draw it. And number two, your character's not accidentally going to go off the paper. That's really frustrating when that happens. This technique will make that disappear right away. Okay, so let's do this. Let's put a line here inside the oval, about halfway down. And we're going to put a couple of little eyes. This is going to be an eyebrow line here. Sketching lightly, really important. Now, in between these two, let's put this sort of fallen down C shape with a couple of these lines in it. Now we've got a little nose there for our Bigfoot. And do kind of a small little smile here. And I'm going to open up the mouth just a little bit. And I'm going to drop in a little curved line in there, shade in the rest, and now you've got some emotion with your character. I always like to draw the face first. I think most people do. The reason that I like to do it is I feel like I have the character with me now. So I'm going to do a little bit of a bottom lip here for this character. And also I'm going to do a line kind of over the forehead here. More sort of a brow line. Okay. So we've got the face in place, and I'm going to make a little bit of an adjustment to the portion of the oval here. I'm going to give it a little bit of a cheek line and then taper that down. So that is a little bit of a cheek line for our Bigfoot. And then I sort of have big ears, so I like to give my characters big ears sometimes. So I'm going to give him just sort of a giant ear right here. And what do you do inside of an ear? Well, there's probably 17 different ways within the cartoon style to do that. Sometimes I'll just do the number 6. And that looks like a good cartoony inside of the ear there. Okay, so you can see where we sort of have our Bigfoot character. The face is kind of in place now. We can sort of see what we're doing. Now we're going to add our first fur for this character. So really important that a Bigfoot character be furry. So I'm going to drop in sort of a hairline so that he's got sort of his face is not hairy, but he's got lots of hair around his face. So I'll just kind of come in with this sort of M-shaped line here. And then I'm going to bring down some ziggy-zaggies here, just his sort of hair sideburn area here. I'm also going to sort of duplicate this over here with some more ziggy-zaggies. And this gets us down to the jaw and the chin line, okay? So I'm going to kind of build in a little bit of a goatee for our Bigfoot character. So I'm going to bring these zigzags down, and then I'm going to kind of flare out a little bit of a goatee for him, okay? And I guess if you saw a picture of me, you'd see why. I've got a big white goatee. So we're going to bring the goatee back up to the ear just a little bit. We don't need to connect there, at least for right now. Let's take a look at it just like that, and then we'll bring this sort of up here. So that's his sort of jaw area, his chin area, okay? So we're going to have his eyebrow come out sort of Neanderthal style a little bit. And then we'll build some hair, okay? So we'll let this sort of exist here as an eyebrow. And then we'll kind of bring some hair back like this coming back, okay? So it starts out kind of pointy and then it tapers down back towards the ear, okay? So what we want is the hair kind of coming up and back, and now the head is complete, okay? So we have our head for our little Bigfoot character. He's a happy little dude. He's strolling forward as Bigfoot does. And let's work on the body now. Okay, we have sort of this leaning forward, kind of motoring forward with a little swingy arm to walk. So what we'll do is we'll sort of thicken up this portion here. This line coming down is sort of the action line for the arm. So I'm going to build this around it so it's fuzzy. And I'm going to leave the hand for later because we're going to draw this foot in a little bit. The foot is super important, obviously, for a Bigfoot, and it's in front of the hand. So I'm just going to leave that for now. I'm going to come down with a little bit of fuzz here and this sort of line leading over to the leg. So maybe he's got sort of a fuzzy little chest hair area. I don't know. Let's take a look at that and see if we like it. And then we'll start to go from back here where his sort of back will meet with the neck, etc. Okay? So now we're going to work on this arm that's swinging back. Okay? So we're going to build in a little bit of a shoulder. So that starts with a curve. We're looking at this line, and we're kind of using this line as our guide, okay? So this is on either side of the line. We're kind of building these ziggy-zaggy shapes and lines. And then we'll taper them off here, connect to the arm. So that's kind of following the action line for the arm swinging back. Okay. Now, we have a hand here that we're sort of drawing from the side. So we're going to do the pinky first. Then we've got sort of the second finger. And then another finger there. So 3 fingers with this. And then maybe we add the thumb about right there. So it's kind of an open, loose, relaxed hand that's swinging back. Okay. If you want to, you can add fingernails to the tips of the fingers here. And we can always take a look at those and make some changes later. Now we've kind of got the top of our guy finished, walking forward. And now we're just going to work on the legs and finish off the character with some giant feet. Okay? So this curve right here is kind of important. This is the knee for his leg that's going back. So we're just going to kind of add some texture to that, okay? And then this back line will come down sort of like this. So this is his back and his leg then bending here. And this is where we'll add in some texture for the end of the fuzzy part of his back foot. We'll do this first because it's an easier foot to draw. We've got the heel sort of coming down to the arch. Again, just following the wireframe, okay? And then we're going to build in some toes. So we'll just do toe, toe, and then maybe we'll do a big toe. I don't know how many toes we want to add. I'm not sure right now. We're just going to kind of draw those in. Maybe there's a big toe on the other side. Maybe this is the big toe. We can decide on that later. His ankle bone would probably be right about in there. Put that in for now, okay? So now we get the big payoff here with the giant foot. Maybe we add a little texture to this. And then basically this entire oval shape should be just a giant foot. So this is the instep here, okay? And then this is going to wind up being little toe and big toe. So you can sort of use the shape here to close that off. That's the bottom of the foot. And then we can kind of just add in some toes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, it's about enough, okay? If you want to add some more detail to the bottom of the feet, he might have just a little bit of that detail there. And then we just need to figure out, you know, how far does this come close? Maybe that tapers back a little bit as he's stepping forward, okay? So now, going back to this hand, we don't have a ton to draw. Maybe we throw a thumb in here. There's going to be fingers in there that we don't really see. So we'll have to decide whether that is distracting or is it okay. We'll probably ink the foot in such a way that the hand even falls back further into the background. So, you know, Bigfoot always sort of walking on the ground. So maybe we also build in a little bit of a shadow underneath him, which kind of grounds him a little bit. And that shadow is just an oval shape, goes from the tips of the fingers to about where he ends, and then this would obviously be shaded in as part of the shadow. So this is a really fun way to build a cute Bigfoot character using basic shapes and kind of detail on top of it based on that famous Bigfoot walking pose that we've seen and illustrated, animated, etc. So what we're going to do now is we're going to ink this guy up and show you what that looks like. Alrighty, this little Bigfoot is all inked up. I just simply traced over the lines that I liked with Sharpie, and I erased the lines that I didn't need any longer. So this we'll call the inking portion of this drawing to make this little Bigfoot guy come to life. And it's as much deciding as it is inking. There's subtle differences and adjustments that are made in things like the hair and all these ziggy-zaggies that we're using for texture. I kind of was very mindful as to how many of those there were and where they were lying and interacting with each other. I've chosen to just leave the fingers as is with less detail there. I kind of took this other hand, just less detail there to allow this foot to really be the focus. Kind of placed the toes underneath here and went ahead and colored that shadow nice and dark to give this a little bit more of a 3D look. So now that you have the ink finished, you can move ahead with color. I'm going to choose colored pencils, one of my favorite ways to color something. So we'll go ahead and color this up now, and you can take a look at how that could look. Okay, without spending too much time, I just quickly colored this up using just 3 colors, yellow, orange, and brown. And you can see how I like to put in some sort of a light source when I'm doing my color I don't always draw it in, but for the sake of kind of showing you the idea, you would focus on where your light source is, and then your coloring of your character would be affected by that light source. So you can see we have yellow highlight where the sun might be hitting most directly onto this Bigfoot, and then it gets darker as it goes away from that. So anything undersided, the underside would be really much darker. So the kind of a quick, easy way to color something up, make it look a little bit more 3D. This is just my quick sort of take on it without spending too much time, but have some fun coloring this up. Thank you for joining me today. And if you could be sure to like this video and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. And we will see you next time for another drawing video. Thank you.